Okay, so I literally just hit the stop record button and then switched over to the Pentatonix video and pressed the start record button again. So we're doing back to back. That was part one that I just did yesterday of VoicePlay's version of Attention. Now we're going to do part two. This is Pentatonix version of Attention. I want to compare the two, see what kind of decisions they made between the two groups that maybe set them apart from each other, and see how they approach the arrangement a little bit differently, especially considering the addition of Rachel Potter in the VoicePlay video made their arrangement very similar to Pentatonix, right? One female, 4 male vocals, and so now we're getting the similar kind of thing, obviously, with Pentatonix and their natural arrangement. So I want to hear how Pentatonix approached this video. By the way, I think I forgot to mention in the last video, but this Attention by Charlie Puth is hands down one of my favorite tracks to play when it came out at most of my gigs. Like I managed to get a couple of really sick remixes early on that I would refer back to, both in the normal BPM of around 100 BPM or so, as well as in more of a house techno BPM of 125, 126, 128, somewhere up in there. So yeah, Attention's just one of those really, really well-produced, well-made songs that lends itself to all kinds of remix and dance floor stuff. It's very dance floor friendly. And so I really enjoyed VoicePlay's take on this song. I want to see what Pentatonix has to offer. Interesting.
Run around, throwing that dirt all on my name. Cause you knew that I'd call you up, baby. You've been going around every party in LA. Cause you knew that I'd be in one. I know that dress is gonna perfume regret.
All right, hold up. Okay, so first things first, Pentatonix right out the gate is hitting with the bass and like basically almost a full arrangement right from the downbeat, right from the very first note. And with VoicePlay, we heard them kind of work themselves into it, right? We heard a bit more of a stripped down melodic approach into the first verse before the bass hit, and then right when the bass hit, you hear that groove, you hear that rhythm. I even made a comment about Jeff's rhythm and about when Jeff dropped in with the bass in VoicePlay's version. Right here, Matt's got the first note of the whole thing. So we're starting with bass, we're starting with rhythm. The groove is present right from beat one. So far, I haven't heard them do anything crazy melodically yet, but we're 38 seconds in. I think we all know it's coming.
You got me thinking about when you were mine, thinking about when you were mine, and now I'm all up on you.
I really love the use of color. Kirsten's eyeshadow and her outfit, the green and pink against the sort of goldenrod background, is such a cool. You don't see that color combination very often, but it works incredibly well. And they're all using heavy color backgrounds, which is kind of a staple of Pentatonix videos, especially since they've been recording a lot of stuff from home recently in the pandemic the last year or so. But specifically, you see a lot of it usually goes the way of a lot of pastels or primary colors, or sort of neon-y colors, kind of like the pink that I have on my face right now, or the sort of neon-y blue that I've got behind me. They're opting for more of almost like a 70s vibe. You're seeing a lot of colors that you would see, in a lot of pop art furniture. Or what do you call that that art style? Not deco. That's a different thing. But there was a really specific art style that was incredibly popular in the 60s and 70s. that featured a lot of these kinds of colors: the goldenrod, the baby blue, the sort of like burnt orange. And I think it's a really, really, really cool choice. It's very different from voice play and the way they chose to go with more of like the neon and sort of like, bright lighting colors. They're stepping away from the lighting here. Pentatonix is stepping away from the lighting here, and they're choosing to go with, I think, more of a bolder color scheme. And I really, really like it.
You expect, but you're not coming home with me tonight. You just want attention. You don't want my heart. Maybe you just hate the thought of me with someone new. Yeah, you just want attention.
Yeah.
From the start,
oh, those colors are crazy.
just making sure I'll never get over you.
Halftime feel. Very similar. Right back to full groove. Okay, so the big difference between Voice Play's version and Pentatonix version that I'm already hearing, and I don't expect is going to change between now and the end of the Pentatonix track, is that the recording Pentatonix presents here is much truer, I think, to the original Attention, and far more. We'll use the term remixable. They've got the full groove going for most of the track, with a couple of exceptions. What they call fills, or like lead-ins, where they'll drop out for a second, except for maybe one or two voices, and then sort of build into the next section for just a couple beats, right? And that's fine. That happens in a lot of pop music. That's honestly, a lot of music, full stop. Like, all kinds of styles of music use those kinds of like fills and lead-ins and things like that. But that being said, Pentatonix, like I said, when like full groove right from the downbeat, right from the first note, right? And so if I were to play, say for example, I'm DJing a party where I'm playing out to a room full of people and they're dancing. If I've got a room full of people that are dancing, and they're acapella fans, I know that they're acapella fans, and an acapella track would go over well, I would probably lean more towards the Pentatonix version for a dance floor. If I'm hanging out with some folks that aren't dancing and are just wanting to listen to some good music, I think that Voice Play's approach is more geared towards listen. I don't want to say listenable, because they're both amazing, but like I think Voice Play's approach is geared more towards listening to the music, versus Pentatonix version is geared more towards feeling the music. That's evidenced with the full groove right from the beginning. That's evidenced with the way they're structuring the thing. Even their halftime section still felt groovier to me in the halftime than Voice Play's halftime section, which was a little bit less groovy, but a lot more intricate. And it's not that Pentatonix isn't capable. I mean, Pentatonix has proven themselves over and over and over that they're more than capable of doing everything that Voice Play was doing in their version. I think that the purpose of each arrangement is different. I think Pentatonix, as a group, they sort of jump the line between, sit and listen to it and enjoy it, versus get up and dance to it and feel it and groove with it. And Voice Play, at least in the context of this song, Voice Play opted to go the other direction. Their stuff's far more sit and listen and a lot less get up and groove.
You're not coming home with me tonight. You just want attention.
The attitude.
What are you doing? Oh, no. What are you doing to me? What are you doing? Oh, what are you doing to me? What?
That was an interesting choice.
What are you doing? Oh.
That sounded chromatic. You don't ever hear that. So, for anyone not familiar with the term chromatic, if you can imagine a piano keyboard where you play not just all of the white notes or all of the black notes, but you play every note in order on your way down, in what they call half steps. I never hear chromatic transitions like that, like almost ever. They're incredibly hard to pull off, and they're incredibly hard to work into an arrangement. So, like when I'm talking about, voice play doing intricate stuff versus Pentatonix doing like groovy stuff, there's still a lot of intricate stuff going on here. And if I was to, well, no, I don't want to pit the two against each other directly because like that's just a can of worms that I really don't want to open. But comparing the two, they both have strengths. They definitely both made some different choices from each other. So like I wouldn't confuse the two if I heard them side by side. But man, that chromatic transition, I want to hear that again because you just never hear that.
What are you doing to me? What are you doing? Oh, no.
Here it comes. Here it comes.
What are you doing? Oh, what are you doing to me? What are you?
That's crazy.
What are you doing? What are you doing? You just want attention. What are you doing? What are you doing? Maybe you just hate the thought of me with someone new. Yeah, you just want attention. I knew from the start. You're just making sure I'm never getting over you.
Okay. Once again, I don't know what they're paying Kevin, but dude deserves a raise. That was some of the most like just insane. Like we know Kevin's talented. Kevin has proven that many times. But towards the end, there was some of the most intricate and like incredibly high level beatboxing I think I've heard. I've heard some insane beatboxers in my time working in the hip hop community. Someone like Rozelle comes to mind. Someone like Bismarcky. Pioneers, absolute pioneers of the beatboxing world. I think Kevin could give either of them a run for their money. It would be fascinating to me to see Kevin go up against someone like Rozelle. And just see how the two compare to each other. The other thing that would be fascinating to me is to see what Kevin would do with something like an RC505 in his hands. Anybody not familiar with the RC505? It's a device that basically is a 5-channel loop station that is designed to be used on a desk. So as opposed to most loop stations that are built for like say guitars, they basically are guitar pedals where they have a switch that you stomp, or so it's like something you set on the feet on the ground that you work with your feet. The RC505 is a loop station that's designed to be put on a desk. It has buttons rather than stomp switches, and you use it with your hands. A lot of professional beatboxers are very, very much in love with the RC505. And I would be fascinated to see what Kevin does with something like that, because I know he can sing, because I know he's an incredible beatboxer. And the best part about the RC505 is you can loop literally anything. So all he would have to do is just like hook up a pickup from his cello or something, and now he's looping his cello along with along with the rest of the vocal parts that he would loop. So yeah, so it's really, really, really fascinating idea, and it. I think comparing the two, Pentatonix versus voice play, there's the obvious part, right? Where voice play went for more of like a musically intricate approach to it, versus Pentatonix went from sort of a straight ahead groovy approach to it. But then Pentatonix also found ways like that chromatic transition, or like with some of the really, really intricate beatboxing stuff that Kevin was laying down the entire track, where the musicality is there. The intricacy is still there, even though it's groovier. Pentatonix found a way to make their version of Attention feel fuller. And that doesn't mean better or worse. Again, it kind of goes back to the comparison I made, where Pentatonix as a fuller arrangement right from the downbeat would be far more friendly on a dance floor. But if I was hanging out with friends and I wanted to share music, and somebody was like, hey, wouldn't it be cool if there was an a cappella version of that Charlie Puth song? I would probably whip out voice play first, like in a car. There we go. So voice play's version, I think, would play better in a car, hanging out with friends. Pentatonix version, I think, would play better on a dance floor. Between the two, they both absolutely have their place. They're both incredibly, incredibly talented groups, and I think it's really, really fascinating when you see these two incredibly talented groups, take their own approach to the arrangement and make it their own. That being said, this was part 2. If you haven't had a chance, make sure you check out part 1, where we take a look at voice play's version of Attention. I've got more videos coming. I definitely have a couple more home free videos I want to do. I want to start branching more into like some classic rock and maybe some other things. But make sure that you stay tuned. If you haven't had a chance, please do subscribe to the channel here on YouTube, and make sure you hit the notification bell so you find out when I've got new videos coming all the time. And last but not least, if you haven't already, please make sure you're following me on Facebook.com, Instagram.com/DJSwitchPTX. And you can find me 3 nights a week on Twitch.tv/DJSwitchPTX. I'm going to be streaming moving forward. I'll be streaming not Mondays, because Monday is now my YouTube production day. So I'll be streaming Wednesdays, Fridays, and Sundays on Twitch.tv/DJSwitchPTX. And my Twitch community is fantastic. A lot of us hang out on Discord, and it's a lot of really, really fun, music loving nerds. And so if you want to join the Discord community, there will be a link below in the description for that as well. Thanks very much for watching this second part of 2, where we take a look at both voice play and Pentatonix versions of Attention. And I'll look forward to seeing you on the next one.